Yeah. Welcome back, Secret House against Tokyo-based hip-hop art and culture conversations. We appreciate y'all clocking in and joining us. Shout out to all the people in the comments and Discord and, you know what I mean, especially the patrons and the people that we rock with who perhaps are on screen right now. I don't know. It actually would save me at least like 3 or 4 minutes if I didn't do that every episode, but who knows? Maybe we'll make a little video that we can just put on the end of it every time, you know what I mean? Like they allow us to do that, but yeah, man, regular ass conversations about independent, underground, abstract, avant-garde, experimental hip-hop. Especially we like the stuff that we can discuss using a radical leftist theory, which both Jed and I subscribe to in our day-to-day lives. So yeah, those are our tendencies. You know the vibes. Today we are getting hip to a cat named blackchai. The album is called Year Wandering. It is 14 songs, about 30 minutes long, 31 minutes. I am not sure what day it came out, but I think it was within the last month or two.
On the 1st of March, so about a month ago.
Okay, bet, power. And I got to give a shout out to Shamar. You guys know we did the Shamar and Child Actor review a few weeks back. He's a tremendous artist himself and hipped us to the one Alkebulan, and also mentioned this. So I want to give him a shout out because he's out there in New York and got his he himself is tapped in and also one of the revolutionary cogs in the machinery. So shout out to him. And blackchai, he seems to be a radical rapper, MC, artist, perhaps producer as well, but nothing on here. He spells and stylizes his name with all lowercase in the great tradition of perhaps bell hooks or just being you know what I mean? Doing it that way.
Production was by a few different people. We got A Haunted House, Gex Armor, Riley Lamar, Sinai, and Junie who provided beats.
Where else did we hear Junie? I know we've had Junie beats on other projects.
Junie's been on some other stuff. We had.
But yeah,
some New York shit probably, right?
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah, so I don't know much going into blackchai's catalog. This is my first time getting into him and listening to I'm saying him. I don't know if they use certain pronouns or whatever the case may be. No disrespect if that's the case, you know what I mean? But this is the first time I'm getting into blackchai and listening to his music. And I gotta say, I didn't pay attention to the cover initially when it was recommended to us, but on the cover itself, it's got that hammer and sickle that is near and dear to your boy's heart here,
right above Musashi Miyamoto.
Yeah, and I love New York, and so as I started listening to the music, I was immediately on track and just rocking with the way that he kind of styles and stacks thoughts and also kind of arranges and gives his personal perspective on things. Throughout it, I started to notice some bars of solidarity and ideological symmetry between he and I. And I was like, yo, this is dope as fuck. On top of that, there's quite a variety of different type of beats that he approaches songs on, and the sounds are something that kept me locked in and kept me interested the entire time. He almost gives you like a barrage of thoughts. It's like a stream of conscious type of just laying out things, and typically rides beats a little bit differently than you might expect. His style is not so bar centric in the way that you would expect an Elzai or a Rock Marcy to craft, but he seems to be within the tradition of a lot of the independent underground radical artists that many of our listeners and me grew up with and love. There's references to Cannibal Ox on here. There's a snippet from Revenge of the Robots where El Producto is talking about the end of times, and Revenge of the Robots must have come out in like 2003, 2004. I remember going to it was either Rasputin, City Lights, or Amoeba to pick up that DVD because we didn't have YouTube back then. And so I know that he's tapped in. And a lot of the things that he's laying out here are, again, as I said, like parallel to thoughts I would have on a variety of cultural discussions, political economy, socialism, black radical politics, and liberatory politics. I really was surprised by this album, and I immediately am on board rocking with blackchai. I got to go back and I only listened to this. I don't know what he was doing on a previous project because he's been putting it down for a few years.
Prolific, yeah. No, I mean, I know he has like a whole crew, No Clue, and they had some involvement. I'm assuming, you know, some of the beats came from No Clue people. Some of the people like involved with the visuals and the you know, the cover of the album. I know blackchai got some help on that one. I'll also say, yeah, he said on Instagram, he says, I wanted a collage because the album itself is more or less a collage of the past year of my life, and further inspired by Takehiko Inoue's Vagabond and how that influenced my interest in studying Buddhism. That makes it sound mad deep, but it's just a rap album. I'm not that smart.
Word life. We that's one of the interesting things I thought as well as I listened to this, just thinking about it purely from like a leftist tradition and a Marxist tradition, is that there's a lot of bars on here that tend to be more towards the metaphysical, the spiritual, and kind of like self-actualization type of lyrics. And I'm not so critical and such a materialist that I don't even my freestyles. I still do that. I just come from that, and those are some of the things that I found the most interesting. I did not write down any bars of blackchais on this, but there's just a plethora of them that stuck with me well and ring in my ears a little bit as like mantras. As I hear it, I see the parallels between him and some of the dope upcoming artists like Sun Mundi, who are saying actual things in a brand new way with a new nuance that connects with me heavy. I think that it almost kind of I don't really like to always draw comparisons between MCs because it diminishes what both of the artists are doing to a degree.
Sure, yeah.
I remember, shout out to the homie Devin Morrison, who's found wild success, but back when I knew him and was first getting familiar with his work, I was like, yo, you kind of remind me of like a Thundercat and now as I think back about that conversation, it really didn't do justice to what he's doing,
yeah,
which is tremendous. And you guys may have heard about Devin Morrison because he's kind of blown up since the days he was out here in Tokyo kicking it with us. And with the Akai Solo kind of comparison that I was going to make is it's that Akai Solo is very verbose and has a huge vocabulary, and also has a more towards a kind of stacking style that is not necessarily a clear kind of
through line where
through
it's like,
right, like a creative writer MC who's like, this is a verse about meeting aliens or whatever you might call it. There's a kind of randomness and a kind of like free form, loose thought association that I get from a lot of the writing, but
which definitely suits the sense of like this has been the last year of his life in documentation type thing, because you know there is not necessarily order in like what takes place over a year of your life, right? You know, this is a combination of his spiritual leanings, his political leanings, and also just like he's a dude who likes anime and like you know other like dope shit out here,
right?
And yeah, I couldn't help but when I saw the Vagabond protagonist, you know, the Miyamoto on the cover, I was thinking back to the novelists that we reviewed, and you know, this is not that kind of like anime raps, even though I think it does have like a very clear influence throughout the whole thing. You know, I think maybe this character, I haven't read Vagabond, but I think this portrayal of Musashi Miyamoto probably resonates with a lot of MCs. You know, the wandering Ronin who's like trying to you know, improve himself every day and try and show that he's the sharpest, he's the best in the world. Like, I think that's probably something that's very resonant. I'd be interested to see how the Buddhist elements of it come through. I noticed on the cover, like just above the hammer and sickle next to the I Love New York, there's like a tenka something. I can't read that bottom kanji, but like under heaven, which is something that you see in Buddhism and in Shinto or in Japanese you know, sects of those religious beliefs.
I think perhaps I could have done a better job kind of laying out some of the more specifics that I picked up from blackchai, but at the same time, I kind of was just enjoying listening to the music more than I was sitting down and making notes on it. And there's quite a few tracks on here that I think will hit and make my end of the year kind of top songs that got repeat play more than, you know, 10, 15, 20 times. And I keep going back, and I think that more than any of the albums that we're reviewing today, more than the Nicholas F. or more than the ST Knack Future Wave joint, like this is an artist that I think that I would hope that our listeners kind of tap into and support and kind of continue to follow their journey. He's right there with, and I know that our proximity to Sun Mundi and Shamar is closer than our relationship with Dunskap or spiritual, but like, yeah, this is one of the primary reasons that I wanted to join Jed and have these type of conversations, because this is some really dope radical art that has music and is saying messages and giving experiences of a person that I would actually like to sit down and have a beer with. It's when I listen to a lot of other artists, it's like, okay, that sounds cool or whatever, but I don't want to kick it with this person. There's not really a hint of any of the kind of misanthropic, antisocial rhetoric that you might get from your random J. Cole bar. Rampant homophobia, or just something that kind of makes you cringe when it comes to like reactionary, even black politics, black nationalist type of politics, or the whole plethora of the spectrum of weird liberal, neoliberal, right-wing rhetoric. This guy, blackchai, is fucking cool as shit, and he's got something to say, and it's really dope. What do you want to give some of our favorite songs? Actually, I'll put on some of it in the background, because we don't care about copyright strikes.
I mean, I was gonna say I also enjoy, there is a kind of contrast in terms of the beats between some of the more like airy and typically beautiful, orchestral type beats, drumless type things, and then the sort of like kind of swaggy, like jazzy, cool jazz, modal jazz type things where he, maybe gets off a little bit more. He's rapping with a bit more swag than he does on the more introspective tracks, and I quite enjoy the bounce back between those.
I especially like that too. More recently, I've as big a fan of as I am of 4-bar loops and kind of a lack of pronounced drum or rhythm percussion section. There are songs here with some drums. There are songs kind of without it, where it's a little bit more of a spoken, like listen to me be the rhythm vibe. But he bounces through those in a really dope way. Some of my favorite joints are the ones with features. The 98 Preem, Vampolo, shout out to Campolo. Like this track is, I've listened to it so much. Their back and forth is great. It's got drums. I've been, for some reason, I've just been like, give me fucking drums. Underground, independent, abstract, avant-garde, weirdo rappers. Give me some fucking drums. And it's got this. And it's also got, I don't want to sample snitch, but I sent you a message like, what is this?
Oh,
Who is this? I know this, but I couldn't put my finger on it just because, my brain is clouded with a
lot of hip-hop
watching fucking anime, and reading and bullshit. But no, this joint right here, right? You know who? Oh, I think it just came to me. Who that is. And I don't want to sample snitch, but a lot of these. Feed the Land, a recognizable but dope flip as well. And listen to the title of it, Feed the Land. It's also undeniably black, in which that always pulls on my heartstrings, just being a black American myself, and yeah, fire this album. You want to
favorite tracks?
I don't know. I kind of feel like this when I'm with you all the time, Jed. Sometimes I just start to get to rambling, and then I'll be like, yeah, so here's 8 minutes of me talking. Jed, do you have anything to say? Great. Let's finish it up. You know what I mean? My bad. You got anything else to say?
No, I think you've covered probably most of anything I was gonna say on here anyway. I want to give a shout out to Size Greeny. That feature really did a lot for me as well.
Also Elohim, maybe. Elohim, yeah.
98 Preem, or just Preem.
Yeah.
Features on here really dope. Kind of reminded me of the Tetsuo joint that we reviewed a little while ago.
Another cat from the cloth that I like a lot.
Really dope cat who's underground, but very flow of consciousness type flows, where it's you just coming and saying dope shit.
Also unapologetically just doing what they want to do,
radically
with rap music. And I was like, you guys like some other shit, fine, but we're not going to shape our art to have some crossover shit, or you know what I mean?
What?
Yeah. Just dope cats. I've got a few favorites on this. I like No Surprise quite a bit. Vamp Low, Wandering is another one that I really like. Fabric. I mean, Impelled Down. Yeah, I like most of these.
Yeah, likewise. I like all of these. I was gonna go with Four Corners, Circles, and maybe Vamp Low.
Okay. Doesn't the album start? Is that Doom? This talking in the beginning of the album?
I think so. Okay. I think it might be from the. It's not
Chairman
from the Red
Mao.
Bull,
The Chairman Mao interview with Red Bull. Maybe. Yeah. Yeah. Check out Black Chai. Support independent underground radical hip hop art. Read Theory. Roundhouse Kick Cops and show a collection of records. Oh, here's people on the screen right now that have decided to take their hard-earned monies to support us and get some train fare, as well as allow us to send money to some of our favorites like the Rap Music Plug podcast, the Sonic Cloth, Noname Book Club, Call Out Culture, and Caltrops Press.
Fist like a glove, smile at the wraith, arrested 10 paces till the last breath, trapped inside a black metal casket, preservation, gold resin in the cracks, the blood spat across the wall, backs adjacent to the
gold resin in the cracks. You know what I mean? That's like some, what do they call that? The Japanese name for that?
Kintsugi.
There we go. You know the vibes.
All debts resolved, aching and propped up, prosper, the day shifting, glitching the simulation.
I'm actually glad that's the first one that's going to come out, because